All right, this is a test, guys. Because something's going on with Rumble, so we're doing a test. See what happens. Hey, looks like it's working now. So. We'll get crashing here. Get some tweets out and we'll get going.
There I am.
Yeah, something is going on with Rumble because once I hit live, it worked. So for some reason, it's putting everything in private until the live stream starts.
That's weird.
Yeah, because that's literally all I did. I made a new room and then went live.
Links.
Okay, so you get the YouTuber. All right. There we go. Hey, what's up, Z?
Z?
Yeah. Z in the chat. Let me make sure Rumble's still good. Yeah, we're good.
You forgot the... No, never mind. It is in there. Sorry.
Forgot what?
I didn't see the Rumble link at first in your new tweet, but it's there. I think.
Yeah.
Is it?
Should be. Yeah, it's at the bottom. It's underneath the YouTube one.
Like, it doesn't give me the option to show more so I can see it. But if I quote tweet it, I see it. It's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we're good. I got the links up in various Discords.
Let's try that.
Hey, Willie.
That didn't work either. Huh. Yeah, it's weird. That is weird. Let me try.
It's just a boomer day. It's all right.
Yeah, definitely a boomer day. Let's try that. That didn't work either. What the hell? I don't know. Whatever. We're going with it. It's a mess. People are here.
That's right.
Did you get the Discord?
Yeah, I got it in Tugs' Discord, Drunk 3POs, Lila Hearts, and Chrissy Mayers.
Cool.
If there are any others that have self-promotion channels you can think of, let me know.
Yeah, don't. I can't think of anything right now. My brain is fried. I dropped my phone in the toilet about 30 minutes before we were supposed to start. Well, I was trying to go through and do timestamps for stuff. So
Mm.
yeah. Anyway, what's up, guys? Welcome to Clout Goblins, episode 3.9. It was a pretty slow news week, I guess. Not a whole lot going on with the news.
It was the that subway incident in New York.
Yeah,
the Marine choking out the guy.
Yeah, which is what we're going to. It's kind of incorporated with the main topic for tonight, which is this idiotic left NPC. So yeah, I'm sure everybody heard about that. The homeless innocent Michael Jackson impersonator who got choked out on a subway and lynched by a white nationalist, or I'm sure that's going to at least be the story that they try to push.
And never mind that the other two that were helping to restrain him were one Hispanic and one black guy.
And the person recording was also Hispanic from, I believe that's what I heard. So yeah, we're going to, it's part of what we're covering with the idiot leftist. But yeah.
We'll give him a little bit of props for showing up because most
he did show up. So
yeah,
I mean
there are very few that do. Destiny shows up to a lot, even though he just gets crushed most of the time. Vosh has shown up a couple of times.
He doesn't do very well either.
I think out of the three of them, I'd say Destiny probably does the least bad. I was gonna say the best, but it's like it's let's just say it's the least bad.
It's just the least bad. It's not a complete disaster. But yeah, I'm Flagrant Triggers. I got a little merch shop, and we sell some merch on there. Doing pretty good.
America great again.
Yeah, we got that shirt on there. Let's see. Take a look at that. Yeah. The one that Crash is wearing is this one. Make America great again. With the lovely Chrissy Mayer. And she's got some pretty good shirts on here. We got Johnny Dabbler from the Dabbler himself, Stuttering John, who has dabbled in comedy. Man, that really triggered him so bad. We also have some nice AI generated art. The Digital Cannibals. Because let's face it, we eat our own for clout around here. If we can use someone else's head to get across the moat, we're going to do it. We got the Legion of Memers. They got some pretty nice hats. Got a few different logos for that too. And then of course, well, gotta throw X-Ray some love too, because she is the reason that this shirt happened. Oh yeah. By far the best shirt we got on the site. She got her new one, the MCU. MCU Studios. And we got me. I made some stuff too. It's nice. New print method. We get like what you see on the shirt is exactly what you get. It's going to be that quality, that detail. And yes, I made that meme. I know. Don't heap your praises too hard. I can only be so humble. Now, yeah. So swing by there, grab you some stuff. Still trying to add some more people. Got a couple of projects that'll be coming later in the year. Like I'm really excited about the jacket for Friday Night Tights. That thing is going to be dope. And you guys have seen it. I might grab it here in a little bit if I get a little colder. But co-host, of course, is Crash Mondo Jr. How are you, sir?
I am good. I got some cringy memes for y'all later.
Oh God! Should we just do that?
You want to do that first? Okay.
I don't know. Shit. No. Let's.
We were going to overload everyone on cringe today.
Yeah, it's going to be a cringe fest, and I've only got one timestamp from dropping my phone, and I now have a Samsung Galaxy Note Piss. So it'll be awesome. No, most phones are pretty waterproof today, so I didn't have to worry about too much, and I got it out pretty quick, so that was good. Yes, Willie, Crash does have a very nice shirt on. Because hey, let's face it, we all love the 80,000 and 85s. If a lot of people won't get that, but it'll be all right. Anyway, let's start with the subway story. So you had a Marine. This guy was on the subway. Details aren't super clear yet. All we know is there were a ton of calls into 911 about a guy threatening people and saying that he didn't care if he died. He was ready to go, and he got subdued. And the video showed someone holding him down in a type of chokehold, which wasn't the typical chokehold from what I've heard, because he didn't have it secured correctly, which may have played a part in what happened. But that is for the medical examiner to decide.
Yeah, I'd heard that comment that perhaps he is not the best practice on the rear naked choke. So people have said that his technique. I am just full disclosure. I am not an expert on Brazilian jiu-jitsu or judo, so I couldn't tell you how good his technique was. Somebody had mentioned that well, at least he got his leg hooks in. That's how you want to get your legs hooked around theirs.
Yeah.
And then you put your foot underneath so that you brace yourself, and then you can't get thrown off. So I know that part was done well.
Yeah, you did the leg hooks to prevent yourself from being rolled on, or to keep them from getting leverage to use against you to get out. Let's see. I'm sure Benny's got the video. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, this guy's story is also, it's pretty sad that a lot of his incidents. So yeah, he's been arrested over 40 times.
He was arrested 42 times.
Yeah. A lot of that has happened, I think, in the past couple of years. I believe the story goes that he used to just be a subway performer. That's what a lot of those older videos are that they're showing. It's just like, oh, he's this Michael Jackson impersonator. Everybody loved him. But in recent years, and I think someone said it may have been tied to the loss of his mom, and he may have just had a mental break, and he's just been downhill ever since.
Yeah, that's yeah, which I mean that is a very, very hard thing to have to deal with. But 42 times this guy has been arrested, and he's still just roaming around. And I believe one of them was for kidnapping a 7-year-old.
Yes, there was one kidnapping, and then a couple of. I mean, I think there weren't all 42 of those weren't assaults, but there were a few actual physical assaults that he was arrested for. I don't remember how many. I don't know what the rest of the charges are. They're probably some. I don't know if they're innocuous or if they're drug related. I don't know if any of that information's been released.
Let's see. We will take a look at this. This is from wealthypeeps.com, which take that with a grain of salt. But apparently his criminal record included drug charges, disorderly conduct, fair beating. I'm not sure what that means. But he also had a history of recorded mental illness. So also take that with your grain of salt. But 42 times. And like a lot of people have been talking about it, like bring back mental asylums for people like that, for having multiple contentious interactions with people and performing crimes. And I mean, if you're arrested 42 times, like at that point, like after 3 and you're shown to have a history of mental illness, he should have been like, that's a good argument to bring back the mental asylums to me, because people like that, they said he was homeless or unhoused or whatever the term they want to use to keep people from thinking he was just some dirty bum. But I'm not saying he was a dirty bum, but when I guess it's the forced application of them having to be put in an asylum that people are arguing about. But this is why, well, I mean, the mental illness aspect is why they don't care, why they're okay being left out on the streets. They don't want to live at home.
Yeah.
They're okay out there doing drugs where they can find them and living in open air drug dens and being arrested multiple times. Like they don't care. They don't understand it.
I think Willie nailed it. And I'll take it a little bit step further, because they want you sick. They don't want you contributing to society. They want you dependent on them, is what I'm ultimately getting at.
Well, I was going to say, it's not
like, it's not just mental health, it's all healthcare. Like the government, well, I mean, government wants in on it, but only if the people in government are profiting off of it.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. As long as they can get a profit from the pharmaceutical companies, then oh yeah, they're all about your mental health and not really dealing with your problems. It's like how 60 years ago, when you bought an item, it lasted for decades because it was built to last, not built for obsolescence, to where it would break easily and you had to go buy a new one. Like nothing lasts these days at all. And the government is just turning you into a subscription service to give their buddies more profit, which they give a little kickback to them. Which is why you see the pharmaceutical industry, the military industrial complex, and giant corporations that push war as the top lobbying groups in Washington. Because they know they gotta give them a little cut, or they're not going to get what they want. Do you have anything else before we start the video?
Nah, brace yourself. Here comes
the okay, so
let's get
this
started.
This guy's name is Lance. And I hate watch TimCast when people like this are on, because
I can't believe you subject yourself to this. I only watched the amount of it I did because of you, because you wanted to cover this.
I mean,
otherwise I would have never touched it.
People need to see this. They need to watch this. And they need to hold on. How do we let's hide the chat replay. They need to see what the left is thinking and how they're processing things, because then maybe they'll understand, oh, maybe I should interact with these people more and try to get them to see reason and logic. But
no, that's the problem though, is that you can't appeal to them with reason and logic. You can't appeal to someone's reason and logic on a decision that they got to emotionally.
Well,
they say that facts don't care about your feelings, but it's also that people's feelings don't care about your facts. Until you've overcome those barriers, they're not going to listen to reason and logic. And those barriers can be a number of things. One is just their own cognitive dissonance, which is something that they don't want to deal with or confront. it's ego driven mostly. It could also be peer pressure in a way, because like if you surrounded yourself with all of these people in your echo chamber and you know how they treat their own.
Yeah.
So like if you step out of line, like Destiny, we mentioned him earlier, had been canceled because of canceled. I don't really know all that happened and if he got, because I think he did get removed from Twitch. I don't know what else was entailed in his cancellation, but I want to say it was over his Kyle Rittenhouse take, which was actually a good take. And it was before even like the mainstream like was getting on board with the fact that it was a legitimate self-defense claim. As soon as the video came out, so I mean, go on him for just having a good analysis, just watching the video and being like, yes, it's clear-cut self-defense. Like if somebody's chasing you, you have the right to defend yourself. What do you mean? And people went after him for it.
Yeah, he's been indefinitely banned from Twitch.
I mean, I think it was because of the Kyle Rittenhouse, but it might have been. I don't know if it was a different take on something other issue or not.
Well, the reason from Twitch was for promoting, encouraging, or facilitating the discrimination or denigration of a group of people based on their protected characteristics.
Okay.
Of course,
it's not very specific. That could be a lot of things. But I'm wondering if it was related to anything in the trans sphere, like trans women and trannies in sports and stuff.
He says he believes it's because of my claims that trans women shouldn't compete with cis women in women's athletics.
Okay.
So, I mean, that sounds about par for the course when it comes to the lefty cancel themselves machine.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, so.
All right.
You got the Subway story. The guy who died, Jordan Neely, he has a long criminal history, mental illness. Sounds like he had a break, started threatening people, according to reports, and he was subdued. And Tim asked Lance about this, and here's his take.
If I'm wrong in this, doesn't in self-defense, like the proportionality of what you're doing has to be in response to the actual aggressive actions of the person, right? It has to be proportional. Is that correct? So you feel in your mind that it was a proportional response for him to choke him out to death in that situation because he was going to become such a threat to the person who choked him out.
But you made a big leap right there.
What's the leap?
You're ascribing intent to the Marine to kill.
Oh, I'm not saying he intended to kill him. I never said that, but he did end up killing him, right?
That's immaterial.
What has to be material, Tim, has to be, is he doing what he's doing?
Proportionality argument, or are you making?
Yes, I'm asking you that because what he did proportional to the threat? Yes. So the threat that he was going to do.
It is proportional to subdue someone that is threatening other people and saying he'll die in the process.
And end up killing him, even if that was
see now you're doing it again. You're ascribing intent.
No, I'm not ascribing intent. I'm saying the results. This is what happened. The guy's dead. He's dead, right?
Pause it real quick, because I don't think the word intent is the right word that Tim is using there, but he's ascribing something that he's not supposed to. It's a conflation for sure. I mean, he's essentially saying, or trying to say, that because the end result was that somebody died. I mean, essentially, like, the Marine used something that was potentially lethal force, and then tried to say that what was the threat that Jordan posed to those guys or to anybody else on the train. And the thing is, your belief in that the threat could be that what the person is doing could be life-threatening or can threaten your person only has to be reasonable. Okay, it doesn't matter that what it would have ended up happening, like, because if you're being physically assaulted, you can die from that. It's called blunt force trauma, or you can get a brain hemorrhage if you're beaten like a lot, So if somebody starts physically attacking you, any level of violence, including lethal force, is proportional. And he doesn't but he's trying to separate the two and say, or let Jordan off the hook, right? By saying, well, what this guy did was lethal force, And maybe if you play a little bit more, you'll see that he does bring up like wanting to, like, what do we know about what Jordan was doing on the train? And of course,
Well,
yeah, we don't have video before he was subdued to see, like, did he actually hit anybody or did he?
Well, I mean, Tim touched on it. He's like, proportionality was he was threatening to harm people, and he had made it clear that he did not care if he died. So he was willing to die for whatever it was he was getting ready to do. And what Lance is doing is, like you said, he's trying to conflate the fact that he died to the response of subduing him, which, and they argue about this for like 10 minutes. And he's convinced that because the guy died, that the Marine, the guy who held him down and choked him out, should be charged with that murder, or with murder, because he died, even though his response to subdue a threat to the general public was warranted and reasonable. Like, I don't think he understands, like, well, he actually talks about too, like the right to self-defense. You have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to defend other people as well.
Right, because you have a right to life. It is
Right.
The first right is your right to live. So
And
others have a right. You have a right to defend that, and you have the right to defend that for others.
Mhm. And
I mean, I would argue that you have a moral obligation to defend yourself and to defend others.
yeah. And but this guy, he's so hell bent on, we have to make sure this guy goes to prison forever. But then Tim brings up, well, he brings up a great point here in a minute about the other things that have happened on the subway. He's like, 25 people got pushed in front of subway trains, and nobody cared. Like, it was barely covered.
Oh
One
my
guy
gosh, that part of the conversation drove me nuts because Lance would said multiple times, like, why didn't you talk about it? And he said, like, we did.
Yeah.
Talk about it a lot. And he's just like totally glossing over the whole point, is just like, we talk about this. All sorts of non-leftist and non-progressive talk about the mental health issues that are leading up to these problems. But it isn't until we have this kind of situation where somebody finally defends themselves or defends somebody else, somebody gets killed, and now all of a sudden the left's having in an uproar, and on the wrong side of it.
Yeah. And they're not doing it for any moral purpose at all. It's just so they'll have another excuse to go out and riot or hurt other people, because that's what they want to do. They don't care about trying to build anything. They just want to destroy everything. And if you're in the way of that, but they have an excuse to do it, even if it's the wrong interpretation, they're going to do it, and your health and well-being be damned.
By they, I mean, we mean, at least tell me if I'm misconstruing it or leaving somebody out, like AOC, or the other members of the squad. There's progressive politicians, progressive media, the the mainstream media outlets like CNN, MSNBC, and other newspapers, Washington Post and New York Times, among others. And then of course there are people just like, I do believe that some people are just brainwashed, and I do feel sorry for them because they're brainwashed into a cult, and that's hard to break out of. But like when I see people like the Black Bloc and Antifa show up to these protests, I also ascribe them to the same level as I do to AOC. I don't consider them just some sort of mindless bystanders, especially since they're the armed ones, the armed enforcers of that group, who that group never seems to have a problem with their guns.
Oh yeah, it's okay to stand outside and defend perverts who are shaking their asses in thongs in front of kids. they will defend that with every firearm they have available to them. But when you flip it around and there are people with firearms protecting people who are saying, "Hey, don't abort children." They are purely innocent and they don't have a say. They think that is oppressive because they want to hurt other people who don't agree with them. And if there are people with firearms there, it's not as easy for them to do that.
Right, because fear is also an emotion, and it's a deterrent when you know that your life could be at risk.
Yep. Like just talking about this, like I don't know, I'm just having like this serious, I guess, epiphany that holy shit, all these people want to do is hurt other people.
Well, they've lost all value of life.
Yeah.
Like people on the
I mean, it's
like
it's
we've
literal.
struggled to define woke, and it's some people find it confusing. Like, why does woke encompass so many things? It's because it is connected. It's this postmodern, subjective moralist view that ascribes everything is just based on power, and so the ultimate goal is really to invert the power structure.
I don't even think. I think that is the goal for people like AOC. For the people that are actually doing it, though, I don't think that's their goal at all. I think the people on the ground doing all this shit, they literally just want to hurt other people, and they want people to be afraid of them, and they want to feel like they have power over other people because they've never attained it for themselves through their own deeds. Not in any productive and meaningful way, anyway. These are the people who are sitting at home, they're fucking losers, they don't know how to fulfill themselves, they've never created anything that's worth a damn, they want everything handed to them, they want everyone to kiss their ass and praise them and call them whatever made up bullshit pronoun that they come up with this week. And if you don't, then they want you to be so afraid for your life that you have to capitulate. Like that's all that like that's it to me. Like I've just convinced myself that is their goal. Like they don't want to try to reason at all. They just want now, gimme, fuck you. And AOC and people like her, to me, those people are way more disgusting than the peons who just go out and want to destroy. You'll never convince me that AOC, like being in the position she's in, getting the reports she gets, she's not an idiot as much as people like to think. She's smarter than people would like to give her credit for. And she knows exactly what the fuck she's doing, and she knows exactly how to manipulate and elicit the response that she wants from people who don't know any better or don't care to try to change anything or who want that easy payday. To me, that is way more fucking evil than the guy who has absolutely no meaning in life and is dying to do anything to get attention and get approval.
Okay, so I would say I half agree because like I said earlier, I do believe that there is a segment of those people that literally are brainwashed. Like,
oh yeah,
when I and perhaps it's one and the same. You're brainwashed into wanting to destroy things, and maybe that's really what's going on here. And I don't know, or maybe that's just me coping, thinking that maybe there's a way to like actually save some of them, because some people do exit the left, especially like if you step out of line, then and you get mobbed yourself, and then you you do end up, like losing all your your own, the friends that you had in this circle, they all turn on you. Everyone that has exited from progressive spheres says the same thing. It's just like, yeah, you walk on eggshells, and the instant you screw up, people that you thought would be there for you or perhaps listen to reason on one thing, one issue. It's this purity spiral. That's this new term that's been going around recently, and I think they brought it up on this podcast, didn't they? No, it wasn't this one. It was.
I don't think so.
It was last night's with Lauren Southern. They talk about purity spiraling, I think. But essentially, because you have to. Hail, Ruben.
What's up, Rubes?
Constantly be one-upping each other, like it. I mean, in a way, the leftist cult is really a goblin cult. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I mean the left is
like you're doing it for.
They project everything. Yeah, they project everything they accuse everyone else of doing. They're the actual. They are more racist than anyone else because they want to force segregation again. They
misogynistic. They want men
Yep.
to dominate in women's sports and be able to sexually assault them in locker rooms.
Yep. They are also the most violent compared to anyone on the right now or the center, because they are the ones going out, burning shit down, murdering people in cold blood, and trying to get you to be afraid for your life so that you will agree with them or they can have what they want. They're literal. They are Schadenfreude. Is that? Am I using that right?
I'm not sure. That didn't sound quite right. I'm not sure what you meant.
Yeah. Pleasure derived by someone from another person's misfortune. That is Schadenfreude. They are.
Is that the same as Schadenfreude? That's right. They've
yeah.
I think Tim Pool has talked about that before.
Yeah,
that's right.
They're literal. Okay. They are literal incarnates of Schadenfreude because they don't know how to create their own pleasure. They don't know how to fulfill themselves because they've never had to try to do that with themselves. They've never been guided toward, hey, if you want a good and reasonable life where you're happy, work for what you want, go out and learn about the world a little bit.
So what are their parents doing now? These are young people.
Yeah.
Their parents are probably just barely above our age, I would venture to guess.
I would say, well, I mean, yeah, but you got these people at our age as well.
True.
And they're leading the younger ones. But for the people our age that are in that cult and the people who are the parents of the kids in the cult, these are the parents that when they come home, they go put on their favorite series and binge watch it and are wasting, like, they go to work, they come home, they don't want to do anything, they watch their shows, they tell the kid, as long as the kids are busy and distracted and they don't have to do anything, they're totally fine. And that's where that's like people like AOC, they know that that's where they can capture, is through online indoctrination. That's why they had all these back doors into social media.
Like, I guess I'm wondering if any of these parents are looking back and being a bit regretful.
They won't be regretful. This goes back to the whole, how are we going to change what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's like you said, the people who walk away, they only did that whenever something extremely personal happened to them. Like a line was crossed and they saw it for themselves and they had to experience, holy shit. Like, that is what has to happen. Those parents won't know until their kid gets arrested. They're not going to know until their kid harms somebody, their kid kills somebody, their kid is caught in a mob, their kid gets hurt being in the mob. like everyone need like that's what I don't understand. Like no one wants to be proactive; they only want to be reactive, and it's led us to this point where it's just about the convenience. It's about what's easiest for me to be able to enjoy what I enjoy and not have to worry about anyone else but myself.
All right, let's play more of the clip. We only got a minute in. We need to
Yeah,
suffer more
that's
frames.
true. Okay.
Results are
Right.
immaterial to the proportionality of action.
So the proportionality of action in your mind was justified to what he was doing, his actual actions.
He
on
held the guy on the ground while he said call
and
911.
killed him and choked him until
see,
he died.
You're doing it again.
No, you keep
Right.
saying I'm doing it again. I'm saying this is
You
the
are-
end results. I'm not saying this is what he meant to do. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. I don't know what's in his heart.
Right.
Neither do you. None of us know what he meant to do that day when he woke
absolutely.
up. Right?
If someone is threatening other people, you are allowed to subdue them.
And then would it be like an
point of
involuntary
death.
manslaughter?
So
Is that-
see, you
No, but this is what happened. It's to the point of death. So you have.
it's not a criminal.
It's not. I'm not saying he intended to kill him. That's the difference, right? But if he ended up dying as a result of that, was that proportional?
Yes.
He needed to be killed.
No,
Or
you
he
see-
could have killed
see,
someone
There
Hold
it
on,
is, right
stop
there.
that.
Pause
You
it.
can't.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
That's his confession right there. He needed to be killed. So maybe Tim did have it right. That is ascribing intent right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what he's saying is, whenever he subdued him, he's convinced that the guy wanted to kill him, instead of understanding that when you are in a self-defense situation, someone might die. Because if someone is willing to threaten your life and you respond in kind, someone could lose their life, whether it's on the offender side or the victim side.
Exactly. Yeah, it could happen in any number of ways. Someone could get thrown or fall over and it just hit their head, and then just the brain
Yep.
hemorrhage causes their death. He
Yeah.
wasn't dead when the police arrived. He was pronounced dead later. So it sounded like it was just complications. I'm guessing. Well, I'm not going to guess. I don't know. We'll see what the medical examiner report shows.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything
But yeah,
about
like,
like the time.
'cause that was the other thing I found
anything.
interesting. Like, and I guess that this speaks to his technique. The fact that he didn't actually, the guy didn't, what do you call it, black out.
Mhm.
You know, he didn't pass out. Like if you do a rear naked choke right, it happens pretty quick.
Yeah, after
Like matter of
after
seconds.
like 10 or
when-
15 seconds. you're out.
Yeah, and you're just out. And so the fact that he didn't get it shows that either he did something wrong, perhaps Jordan in his what do you call it, just in the fray was able to turn his head just properly enough to where he couldn't get completely have his airway blocked.
Mm.
I don't know.
Well, it's not a matter of the airway, because the airway has no, like, someone can be breathing just
Oh,
fine.
no, yeah, you're right.
It's
It's
about cutting off the circulation to their head from their
you're right.
jugulars
It's
and
but I guess what I was getting at
carotid
was that
arteries.
I know that when they have their arm around you, if buy yourself more time, you're generally pointing your chin towards their elbow to prevent the forearm from coming across that artery. Is that right?
Wait, what?
So, like, if somebody is trying to like choke you from behind,
Mhm.
and they get their arm around you, to buy yourself time, what you should be doing, with your head, is pointing it towards their elbow, because this doesn't block the artery like this does.
No. That's backwards.
Did I get that wrong?
Yeah,
Okay, I don't-
because your carotid arteries, like your windpipe is here. It's in the front, it's in the center.
Okay.
Your carotid arteries are on the side of it. So so this is an elbow. Here's the
Mhm.
bicep, here's the arm.
Okay.
It comes around, and what it does is, if you go right into it, you can, like, a little bit of pressure and you're cutting off the arteries. Person can still breathe just fine, talk, but once you apply that pressure on each side of the windpipe and start slowing down the flow, start slowing down the flow of blood through the carotids, that's when they pass out. So
Okay.
if you work yourself like this is nowhere near effective, because this is pushing on the windpipe, but this is cutting off the arteries. So
Okay, so
this is suffocating someone
mhm.
and not letting them breathe because you're restricting the airflow. This is cutting off oxygen supply through the blood to the
Okay,
brain.
so is there anything you can do with your head, or do you just not worry about that part of it and just kind of fight to get the arm off?
The best thing to do is to tuck,
Okay.
because then you're
I see.
you're wedging your chin into their levers, and it widens it out, like with your jaw forces a little bit of opening and gets some of the pressure off or closer to your windpipe. I mean, that's about all you can do, because like a good rear naked choke, it's not about the windpipe at all. It's just about
Okay.
those arteries and getting the blood flow cut off. You're basically creating a tourniquet around someone's neck. And the reason it only has to be right here is because you don't have arteries running up the back of your neck. It's just like, the arteries are right here. That's why you can feel a pulse right here.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
Right. Everybody, you learned something. Tuck your head if somebody tries to choke you out. I learned
tuck
something.
your
'Cause I
head,
didn't know.
and
I don't
to
remember
help.
where I heard that from, or maybe I just misinterpreted what they were telling me. Because that was a long time ago.
Yeah, because if you turn into their elbow and give that lever on the forearm and the bicep more real estate on those arteries on each side, yeah, it's gonna be way easier for them to cut off circulation. But
Well, anyway, back to this. I don't know, the chokehold thing has been, I don't know, contentious for a while, because I know that progressives not just progressives. There's a lot of flack that gets given to cops over chokeholds, especially ones that have ended up in death. I remember Eric Gardner. He was selling.
I don't remember what happened with that. Like the only
Like,
one.
he was.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Okay, so he was selling. I think individual cigarettes. Like he would buy like a pack.
He was the one selling Lucy's.
Lucy's, yeah, that's what they're called. And then of course the cops confront him over it because he's not licensed to do that or whatever, which is kind of stupid. But yeah, then he ends up in a chokehold, and I don't know. He ultimately died from it.
Well, so it looks like it triggered an asthma response.
Okay.
Like honestly, chokehold and submission holds are the safest thing to do, because unless they have a specific scenario with their health, like this, like it triggers an asthma attack, or the person's already hypoxic, or something like that. Like once you put someone's lights out, like once they're out, they just let them go. They don't keep holding it, because they're trained at that point. Now you are killing them, because once they're out, the brain's already went into survival mode and shut down the body, and it's trying to use as little oxygen as possible to stay alive. But if you keep holding on to that hold, you're then, by not letting blood get to the brain that's already shutting itself down because it needs to save as much energy as possible, then yeah, at that point you are trying, like it's hard to argue that you're not trying to kill someone after they're already passed out.
Yeah.
Like once they're passed out, it's not great for people if they're continually knocked out like that, but it's not super lethal. Like I believe the taser is more lethal than a chokehold, because it can cause palpitations. That's the big thing, is it causes heart arrhythmias. And like somebody's got a pacemaker and they get hit with a taser, they're probably going to die. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong on that, but a lot of, I mean, look at jujitsu, man. If chokeholds were that dangerous, you'd never
Right.
be able
Well,
to use them.
I think that's
in-
what has always made me like question this whole controversy because it's a common thing just in jiu-jitsu and MMA competitions. But you
Yeah.
never hear about a competitor. Oh, it's just like, oh, he got choked out and he didn't make it. Like, no, because there's a ref there who like gets the other guy off as soon as he knows that the person's passed out and minimizes the time that their brains without blood flow.
Yeah, and a lot of people define like I was looking up some stuff just now, and it's like they consider chokeholds cutting off the airway, and that's not how a chokehold works.
Mm-hmm.
It does like if you're cutting off the airway,
Perhaps
then
it's if you've done it incorrectly, then and
yeah, because if
then
you're
cut off
doing
the
it,
airway instead. Perhaps that's I could see that being potentially more.
yeah, because if you're doing it and you're applying force to the trachea right here instead of the arteries here, if you damage their trachea, then you have a much higher chance of killing them because once you rupture the windpipe, it's not good. That is extremely dangerous if you crush someone's windpipe.
Mm.
Because usually they will die if you do that, if you don't get like medical attention right away, because the swelling and then you get fluid going into the airway from the rupture and the swelling from damage and the inflammation and they won't be able to breathe. And yeah, that if you're doing it against their trachea and the right here, yeah, that's way more dangerous than doing it the right way and cutting off the arteries. But Jesus, where are we going?
I don't know. We got off on a tangent because
I know, right?
I was asking about details of
Yeah.
chokeholds and how to defend yourself. I mean, we can play more and endure more of this cringe.
Well, I mean, the point for this is, I mean,
or if you want to go to the
he
next
just
timestamp.
yeah. Well, yeah, we'll have to skip around, but
okay.
Pretty much, it's just them arguing for like
you keep trying to say needed to be minutes. And there's a guy, you're on a train, intent. You can't get off that train.
Canadians to America, we don't have mass shootings like you do. No one else does. It's you
film them, and they are demanding criminal charges. I can't vote for Joe Biden.
40 minutes into it.
I think you're surrounded. We talk about this quite a bit.
Sure.
If all sides has nearly 4,000 people rating me, and the end result is centrist. If I'm actively pro universal health care, not to the life outright, Seamus would argue abortion in any capacity should be banned entirely. I'm in the traditional Democrat position. But you see,
this is another
a tribal,
abortion.
Amoral, illogical position of just let them kill the baby regardless. I don't see any logic there. I don't see how that makes sense morally or ethically or just mathematically.
Right. So you said I'm pro-abortion. What I'm against is forced birth, and I don't think the state should be forcing women to give birth.
Pause it. God, forced birth. Okay. What the hell does that even mean? By the way, also fun drinking game is like every time that he says it's her body, her choice. Like take a shot because he says it so many times in a short period.
Yeah, here I'm recommending everyone not do that due to alcohol poisoning concerns. But yeah, so this guy and Tim calls him out on this forced birth. He's going to conflate. Well, you just have to watch. Like, let's just watch a little more and see if he It's amazing what he considers "quote unquote" forced birth. Like, strap on your idiot shoes because we're going through the shit.
Against their will, which is what your position and your position is.
So
I'm against that. I think that's creepy government shit. I don't think they should be forcing them and turning them into these viable wombs against their will.
I completely agree. I'm against forced birth, just like you.
Cool.
Except my difference is that if the baby's at 8 months and can survive, they can take the baby out as if they would have an abortion, but not kill it in the process.
If it's a viable at 8 months, is it viable?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is viable at 8 months, dude.
I do not know that beforehand. Come on.
Yeah.
How is it? It is common knowledge. I mean, the exact week isn't necessarily common knowledge. I think it ends up being about.
I think the youngest
5.5-ish months, 5 or 5.5-ish months. Huh?
Yeah, I think the youngest is like 20 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I definitely heard about that. I mean, the thing is that with each case is gonna probably be different. Like you take out a premature baby, it's there's just a chance that it's not gonna make it, and the younger it is, the more likely it's not gonna make it, right? But I think somebody pulled it up during this that I don't remember what the source was, but it said 24 weeks. But I'm not entirely sure what that was.
Yeah, I think 24 weeks is the consensus on viability.
Yeah, but like 8 months, you should know that it's definitely viable at 8 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty.
It's just so close to the end, like you can't. Yeah.
I really, I want to find the part.
Your position is that women have a right to kill the baby even if they end the pregnancy, and there's no logic there.
The logic is that I don't think you agree with forced birth at a point. How at 8 months? At 8 months, Tim Pool thinks forced birth is fucking cool and poggy.
Stop making up stupid bullshit.
But
no, hold on.
That's what this is.
Bro.
100%
nonsense statement. Because I already said I agree with you. A woman should be able to end her pregnancy whenever she wants. A woman could end her pregnancy whenever she wants. Say it. Tim Pool said a woman can end her pregnancy whenever she wants.
Yeah, I demand
aborting and giving birth are both ending a pregnancy.
Make up something fake. Tim Pool agrees with forced birth is a false statement. You're lying. I have already said I believe that women have a right to terminate their pregnancy to a certain amount of time.
At 8 months is where you draw the line.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you just said that.
And now here's where he's making shit up to try to win the argument, because Tim didn't say up to 8 months. He just said viability. He said at 8 months the baby is viable.
Right.
And that's when he's like,
"Oh, that means that you don't have to, like, I don't know if." I struggled to ascribe it to just stupidity. That is the idea that
he's definitely being malicious. Like he knows.
I think that he does know what Tim is trying to say, or at the very least, he's just trying to not lose, right? Like he just can't concede at a minimum.
Yeah. Well, he can't let the other side look
you can't
correct.
Separate the idea that's just like, well, your pregnancy ends when the baby is born, whether it's done the natural way, a C-section, or if the baby is aborted. Like all of those things all terminate the pregnancy. But like, if you don't have to kill the baby, why can't you still end the pregnancy and then just not kill the baby? Is the entire point that he just glosses over the entire time.
And that's what he's trying to get away with, is saying he's trying to say that terminating a pregnancy is only when the baby dies too.
Yes.
It's not when the woman no longer is gestating or has the baby inside her, which is actually when pregnancy ends, whenever the child is outside of the womb and living on its own. It only counts as, in this guy's mind, ending the pregnancy, terminating the pregnancy, ending birth, or giving birth. Well, for him, he considers giving birth, the woman actually giving birth to a live human. But terminating a pregnancy to this guy is only when the baby dies too. The baby must come out dead. That is an abortion. That is a termination of a pregnancy, which is not true. That is, not only is that terminating a pregnancy by removing the child from the mother, where she no longer has to gestate or provide the nutrients for the child, and the child is no longer dependent on the nutrients of the mother that she provides, but it also has to be dead. Yeah, and
otherwise it's forced birth.
Yeah,
whatever the hell that really
forced
means. Like,
birth. Listen, lady.
I mean, the instant you are pregnant, you are going to be forced to give. To have that child has to exit you for one way or another. Once the child is in you, it doesn't just like you can't just make it disappear.
Yeah, it's like I don't get it because he like to me it's like he's saying, "Listen, lady, you're gonna give birth. That baby's coming out of you one way or another, but dead. Like I don't dead or alive. You're having that like that happens even if the woman wants it.
Exactly.
Like there is you can't force a birth. It's going to happen if a woman gets pregnant. She has to give birth.
Like the only thing that you are forcing is that the child lives.
Yeah.
Or that the child is given a chance, because obviously if it's not viable, then it's just it or not, far enough along, then it just might not make it. But that is what is being forced. Is just giving the child a chance. Yeah, and especially like in the third trimester when it's easily viable and we have so many methods for just handling that.
That's another thing that pisses me off.
Like, why is that? Like, how that can not even be an option for progressives to consider? Like the idea of adoption. Like, why does that throw them up in such a tizzy? And in fact, they always throw it back at conservatives and libertarians, and it's just like claiming. I mean, I guess it's definitely a projection that nobody wants those kids. You guys don't want those kids. You don't care about the kids until the kid is born, or or before. You only care about the kids before the kid is born. But once it's born, you don't even care.
I guarantee.
And I'm like, it's a weird way to kind of imply that. Okay, so we should just kill the child, even if that were true.
Well, it's like you said, it's projection, because I guarantee. Yeah, I don't know any numbers. I haven't looked at any studies. I don't know any analyses or anything. I still guarantee there are more conservative and centrist homes that adopt and foster than Democrats.
Yeah, I used to know some numbers, but I know that it's definitely more. I just don't know what percentages we have. I haven't checked those in a while. And we would get more adoptions if we would get government bureaucracy out of the way so that it wouldn't cost, $40,000 to adopt a child. I mean, I don't know if that number is accurate, but I've heard that like it can cost tens of thousands of dollars. So if anybody knows like approximately how much it costs, I've never adopted a kid before, so feel free to post that. But I know it ain't cheap. You looking it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. Granted, this is a quick search from Quora. Do conservatives adopt children more often than liberals? And where was it at? I saw it. One of the answers had it.
Okay, and I got the average cost. I went ahead and just brought it up. The average in the U.S. I was actually pretty close. It's between $20,000 and up to $45,000 to adopt a kid. This price covers legal fees, home studies, travel and lodging, court fees, medical, and living expenses for the birth parent.
Well, let's see. I know more pro-life people adopt than pro-abortion.
Right. Or here's another one that gets me is like the pregnancy crisis centers. The fact that people in Antifa would dare to like firebomb that place is like you're the ones who threw out the complaint about like, well, somebody needs to take care of these kids. They are literally taking care of the kids. So they're offering an option for the mother so they can give birth and care for the kids and not be overly financially burdened.
Mm.
But it's like, I don't know, you're just kind of revealing your true self, because it's like it's about the fact that they don't offer abortion. You want the ability to kill that kid.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not. I don't even. Well, these people don't see unborn children as people, though. That's the thing. They don't see it as killing a child. They just see it as enforcing the woman's right to choose, which is what this douchebag does. He doesn't care that a human dies.
Yeah, I kind of take this as a perverse. It feels like a perversion of like a libertarian stance.
Well,
believe it or not, there are pro-life libertarians. We just don't want government policing pregnancies.
Well,
because they'll end up, because then you would end up eventually in something like what's that, the Handmaid's Tales, you know, when they start trying to control population. But yeah, like that's kind of the libertarian point of view. It's like, yeah, we are pro-life, but we just don't want government to be able to overstep. So like, whatever the government's involvement in abortion, it should be the absolute minimum that it has to be to protect the life of the child. And that's it.
Well, they're completely hypocritical to me when it comes to that, because in California, you can, I think it's one of the states where you can abort whenever. None of the politicians see unborn children as actual humans or people, or that they have any rights. But also in that state, if someone kills a pregnant mother and the baby dies too, that's a double homicide. Like, explain that.
Here's a puzzle to throw to the next progressive you talk to. If the woman was driving to an abortion clinic, is it still a double homicide since she's decided that the child isn't alive?
Yeah, like
just throw that out there at them and watch their brains melt.
Like I'm starting to get more and more dark with how to prove points on things. It's like what you said, like what you just said. Like, someone should question these politicians and be like, they should try to amend it to where it's no longer a double homicide, because it is a pro-abortion state. Like, you can't have it both ways, because, I mean, let's face it, they're doing it just to, well, one, they know that an unborn child is a human, is a child. Over 99% chance that it's going to grow up to be a functional human being. But because of the voting base and because they want all that power, they also have to assuage and tell them, oh no, you're right, it's just a clump of cells. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. All right, are we ready for more?
Never.
The baby is viable, that she shouldn't have the right to be able to terminate it.
To kill the baby.
Yes.
I said she can end the pregnancy whenever she wants.
And ending the pregnancy can be giving birth or aborting the baby.
Or a C-section that keeps the baby alive.
She has to be forced to give birth against her will in a C-section, but the baby is viable.
So how do they remove the baby?
Either way, the
literally
baby comes
just
out of her. You're saying that
yeah, he's
like, for like the first 3 words, you feel like, oh my god, he got it. And then he turns it back into a forced birth scenario, which is like, no, that's not at all.
Like, look at him. He is not taking this seriously. He knows exactly what he's doing. You can see him hiding the laughter because he knows exactly what he's doing. Like, this guy is full of shit.
You literally want forced birth. You literally want to force women to give birth against their will.
So you're saying you're saying they should use the tools to rip apart the body and pull that out. Whereas I'm saying they should just take the baby
I'm saying
out.
she should have the right to decide what happens to her body. That's it.
Okay, but
ignored that the question had nothing to do with her body, had everything to do with the baby.
And Tim made, like, so and he said it, and he
couldn't
wouldn't
say it
answer.
any clearer than what he just said.
Yeah.
That it's like you can still end the pregnancy. I am granting she can choose to end the pregnancy, but it doesn't have to be using those abortion tools to rip the baby apart. Because you still end the pregnancy, whether induced labor, C-section. And it's just like you get the same result. So what's the problem? Why can't you just let the baby live? And he doesn't even answer that question. Never answers anything about letting the baby live until we get to the what's coming is the meth question.
Child is coming out. You're making this argument about forced birth. Either way, what is in her body is going to be outside of it. The question is it okay to shove?
It's like talking to they're literally talking to a 5-year-old at this point,
limb by limb to get them out.
What drives me
or should we say no? That's not.
No, that's not true, because a 5-year-old would have compassion and be like, "Oh yeah, we probably shouldn't kill babies. Like, these people are perverted. Their worldview
You're right.
is
That's an insult to
perverted.
5-year-olds. You're right. I take that back. It's an insult to 5-year-olds would have a lot more compassion. You're absolutely right. So
If a 5-year-old is saying, "Yeah, the baby's got to come out dead, or it's not an abortion," it's not the turn. Because
like the 5-year-old hasn't even encountered death yet. I mean, at least you hope not.
If a 5-year-old has said that, that 5-year-old has been through some shit.
That 5-year-old's the new Dexter, like the real life.
Yes. Yeah, like that 5-year-old is fucked. Like, and it's probably going to be a politician.
Unacceptable.
Right, hold on. I gotta address this. They got nothing to get votes. Sorry, Willie, you're wrong, because they have the graveyards.
Oh yeah, I see what you did there.
They always had the graveyards.
Well, and they've got the suitcases in the radio flyer carts.
Yep.
You shouldn't kill that unborn child. How is that for either way it comes out of her body? Either way the child comes out of her body. It's not as if there's one scenario where the pregnancy magically disappears and doesn't leave the body.
Let me add, forced birth is a nonsense politics statement.
But in your scenario, she's being forced to give birth against her will. Like she's
already pregnant, dude.
I know, but
we're not talking about forcing her to do anything. She's pregnant.
But then endorse that position.
I did.
Stick by it.
I know. I reject there's no such thing as forced birth. They're saying you can't kill that baby.
Let me tell you how fascinating this is.
Because she
the
has the baby inside her.
Is so
yes, she does.
fervent about legalizing the killing of a baby at 9 months that I can sit here and say I think women should be able to terminate their pregnancy whenever they want. But if the baby is viable, there's no reason to kill it.
She has to be forced to give it. Then she has to be forced to give birth and then give the baby up. Is what you're saying?
Give birth. Define.
Yes. Okay. So that is forced birth, right?
So
she can't decide to terminate it at 8 or 9 months.
Define give birth.
You just said at 8 months if the baby is viable.
I didn't say 8 months. Define give birth. I'm trying to understand what you're saying by forced birth. What does birth mean?
You just said when she is at 8 or 9 months. Okay, so she's at 8 or 9.
I said viable.
Okay, so it's viable. The baby's viable. She should have to give birth to it in some capacity. C-section, whatever.
Define birth, and I can answer your question.
Birth, the removal of a child into the world from a mother's womb.
So how do they do that?
The woman pushes the baby out.
So then what would you call an abortion at 8 months? Is the woman pushing the baby out?
No, it's most likely a medical procedure done by a doctor.
And what is that medical procedure?
An abortion.
But what is that?
What is an abortion?
Yes, like what?
How is it done?
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure how it's done at 8 months. I know earlier on it's usually done with a series of tools. I don't know how it's done at 8 or 9 months.
Okay, so
it's
your
the
moral
most
argument
vague,
is
nonsense that I've ever heard. Like every medical procedure involves tools. Like this, it's not like
giving birth involves tools sometimes. Naturally,
I'm sending you a bill, Flagrant, for my cringe. I have endured pain.
Like he's circling, like he's doing his damnedest to circle around having to say, no, the baby has to die.
I mean, well, he's just ignoring that part of the question in its entirety. Like he's deflecting. It's really what he's doing. He's deflecting to go to this forced birth argument. As he's done in other places, he defaults to the, well, it's her body, her choice. Especially whenever they ask him about if he would endorse the choice. Like he says multiple times, just like, I don't think that she should. I just think she should have the right to. And it's a real like kind of perversion of libertarian ideas that
the right to kill the baby or not.
Exactly.
Like that's it. That's the only thing she's choosing at that point, because like they said, the baby has to come out. The woman is pregnant. She is going to fucking have the baby come out of her or give birth. Why does the baby have to be killed beforehand? Like, oh, and that's something else he gets into. He's like, well, if the baby comes out alive, what if they killed it then? Well, that would be murder. So just
like how is it lost on you that like we could take the baby outside, it's alive,
and
she
he can't
still got
say
what she wanted. It is not forced upon her. It was her choice either way.
And he can't say, well, if it's inside the mother, it's still dependent on the mother. No, because you just admitted, and you know that viability happens at like 24 weeks. The child doesn't have to be dependent on the mother anymore at that point. It might be rough. The child might die, but we have the technology now to where premature births can still give rise to a healthy child later in life. The baby can survive. So,
how do you think that this debate is going to evolve when artificial wombs make it so that a baby is technically viable, like its entire pregnancy, because you could transplant it?
Oh, well, then they're just going to turn it. You know where that's going to go.
I mean, I know where that's going to go, and I'm just talking about specifically this part of the debate. I know that all the other things that are down the line, just why I'm against having the artificial wombs in the first place. But it is going to be interesting to see how this particular debate evolves when it's like, okay, her body, her choice. Well, we can just take it out of her body. I mean, it's exactly the exact same thing that they are talking about, right? Tim is saying, like, we could just take it out of her body. We can take it out of her body and just not kill the baby. Like, there's going to come a day when we have the technology for the entirety of the 40 weeks.
Well, I mean, then it's going to prove that the only reason that they wanted to kill the baby was because the woman didn't want to mess up her body. She didn't want to gain weight. She didn't want to, like,
no, I think it's more about they didn't want to take responsibility for the child. They just don't want to raise the child.
Well, yeah, that, and it's like 97.5% of all abortions are done out of convenience. Has nothing to do with
93.
No, it's 97. I know it's over 95. I know it's 95 or more.
Okay, I'll just give it to you. I mean, it's close enough. It's well over 90%. So it's
it's well over 90% of abortions are done because of out of convenience, and by convenience I mean they don't want to take responsibility. They claim they don't have the money. The father's not present. Insert reason why you made bad decisions and don't want to have to accept responsibility by yourself for it. And what's really shitty is, what about the dads who don't want their baby to be killed, and would happily take the baby for themselves?
Yeah, they don't even get the option.
Yeah, this is all. It's all a fucking ego trip. That's all this is.
No, I think you're right. Like, you could remove literally every possible like excuse that it's like, oh, the baby's not viable and all this other stuff, and they are still going to fight for this.
Yeah. And
there could literally be like, we could take it out at week 1, so you don't even experience most of the pregnancy. There'll be like a family fully lined up and ready to take the child and take care of the child for its entirety of its life. You don't have to have anything to do with the child, and they will still fight for the right to abort that child.
Yeah. Even if you went from day 1 and you grew it in a tube or in some artificial womb, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, it's not really human. It didn't grow inside a woman." I guarantee it'll be some dumbass argument like that. Well, it's not really a human. It wasn't. It didn't grow inside of a human, and that's how we define getting pregnant. Like, it's fucking like these people are fucking gross, man, and they're depraved, and they're pathetic, and this is why we're where we're at, and why I'm ready for the revolution. Ugh. Yeah, it's God, it's infuriating and saddening and pathetic, and there are people who would give anything to, like, women who can't have children. Most of them would give fucking anything.
Okay, by the way, I was right, 93%.
Well, you'll have to show it, because the one I looked at was 97.
Okay, I mean, and maybe it varies based on what study you're looking at. This one is abort73.com. You know, I'll go ahead and post this in the chat. People can take a look at that. I mean, it's fine. I was just having fun. It doesn't really. It's not. It's immaterial to the argument, right? But according to these stats, essentially have less than 0.5% victim of rape, 3% fetal health problems, 4% physical health problems, and then all of the rest is just any reason that they come up with. Would interfere with education or career, not mature enough to raise a child, don't want to be a single mother, done having children, can't afford the baby, not ready. So yeah, and then 6% for other.
Yeah. Well, see, the reason, because the one study I looked at, it was like 97%.
Oh, this is an old study. Sorry, maybe yours is newer. I just looked at the date on this. I'm like, okay, this one's a little bit older. So it's probably shifted.
I cannot remember where I found it at.
Okay, and this particular study was on a survey, 1,209 post-abortive women. So yeah, it could also just be a sampling thing.
Well, I mean,
considering how many abortions there are per year, like this is 1,209. So I don't know what the plus minus is on that. Considering there are, let's see, in 2020 there was almost 1 million.
Yeah, well, I know the one I looked at, it was older.
It's actually really good. So it's actually gone down. I didn't realize this. So from 2000, it was as high as 1.3 million per year, and we're down to by almost 400,000.
Yeah, I mean, I know the one I looked at, it was older than this, because this is from when, like 2021 or something, or 2020. The one I looked at was older than that, and I mean, that could be where things are slow. Well, no, I don't know, because I mean, are the health issues really on that much of a rise? Possibly.
I mean, there could be a number of things that cause a shift. Like I mean, maybe it's because there are, like we see that the numbers are going down overall. If that's a drop in convenient abortions, then your percentage of the health problem abortions is just going to be higher, even if the number isn't changing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, hold on. I want to see this because I saw something interesting in the subtitles.
Have it extracted from her and then live. Is that correct? Is that your position?
Well, it's not forcing the woman to have a baby live if the baby's already alive. You see what I'm saying? Like, you
right.
can,
so you're okay.
Here's
So
I got
semantics.
I got a compromise for you. I got a compromise for you. We'll tell the mother we killed it, but we'll sneak it off and give it to someone else. Does that work for you?
No, because I still think she should have autonomy. She should have the right to do it if she wants to. Of course.
She should
Right
kill the
there.
baby after it's already born?
I don't want her to kill a baby. I want her to
Why
have.
do you keep saying it?
Because I want her to have the ability to choose. That's different.
To
and that is
choose
a
to kill the
fundamental
baby.
part of it.
Yeah,
Out of
that's
the
it.
house, right?
That's
It is
it.
literally killing the baby.
Let's say 24 weeks. The woman goes to the doctor and says, I want this baby out of me. And the
What if she says, I don't want to have this baby?
I don't want to have this baby.
Okay.
Okay. And the doctor says, I will remove it.
Okay.
Uh-oh, the baby's alive. What do we do?
So you forced her to give birth.
No. She said, doctor, I'd like an abortion. He says, you got it.
Yeah, that
Stands
was
right
a
up.
He's lying
false
here.
statement there.
No. He does the abortion and it fails. And the baby
An abortion is terminating a pregnancy.
So
there's no
exactly.
such thing. There's no such thing as a trick abortion. You can't
No,
trick
they're called failed abortions.
failed abortions where
Yes.
doctors like trick
right.
women into taking the babies out.
No, you dumbass.
So
Good
when
lord.
they perform the abortion, as Seamus explained, they stick metal tools into the brain, scramble it up, and rip its body parts apart,
Okay.
and then pull it out chunk by chunk.
Okay.
When the babies are smaller, sometimes they pull them out, but the babies don't die; they survive.
Mhm.
Right. So my question is, in the instance of a failed abortion, what should be done?
A failed abortion being that the child is living, it's
Yes.
outside of the mother.
Yeah.
At that point, you cannot kill that child. That would be murder.
Oh, okay.
Agreed on that point.
Right.
Yeah.
So then,
I love this
where does
melon,
the mother's
Seamus.
choice come in
It's like,
to kill?
We
Before
got
that
him.
procedure takes place.
So
She has a choice to choose what she wants to have done with her body. If she goes to a doctor and the doctor's like, I'm going to perform an abortion, which the assumption would be that I'm about to terminate the child, but then he just secretly sneaks the child out of there, that's not performing an abortion. You're just being deceptive.
Yeah, and the doctor should go to prison if they did something like that, in my opinion.
I think you go to
absolutely.
prison. if
No,
you should go to
Ian.
prison
Yeah,
if you perform an
that
abortion.
wasn't a great
Yeah,
take,
I
Ian.
heard that.
Yeah.
Not
Opposite
surprised.
perspective.
So there's also something that none of us know because I don't think any of us are medical doctors. The difference on the physiology of the female.
There's a child
wait,
inside of
hold
her.
on,
body,
let's-
not
What about
hers.
meth?
Oh, there it is. You found it.
Like, should she be allowed to do meth?
Yeah.
I think if someone is doing meth while they're pregnant, that it is completely acceptable for something like I don't know what the name of the service is in the United States.
Child
For-
services?
I guess
Child
DCFS
services?
would be.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's her body though.
Yeah, it's her body.
If she wants to do meth, what's the big deal?
The big deal is that she's intentionally trying to kill a child.
Hold on there a minute.
Yeah, and I see where we're going.
See,
I don't.
like the fuck is wrong with this guy? So okay, so here's his thinking. A woman has complete autonomy over her body, and the child is her body until she gives birth to it. But so if she wants to destroy that piece of her body, she should have the right to do so, as long as it's a medical procedure. However, if she wants to destroy that part of her body and not go through a medical procedure, but does it with illicit drugs instead, that's wrong, because she's endangering that part of her body, which is also a separate human being. But that can't be right, because I thought it was her body. Thought it would, like, that's the whole justification, right? Jesus Christ.
Like, I don't think he even like Willie said here, I don't know that he necessarily even represents their side of things very well, because I think there are things that he said that's like, I don't think that other progressives necessarily take that route.
I mean, either way, like,
I mean,
what
it's
is the
still wrong,
argument
but I'm
going
just
to
saying
be
that,
when
like,
it's laid
I
out
think,
like that?
yeah.
Well, okay, so you're right, because probably, like I said, this guy knows he's wrong. He just doesn't want to be wrong. He doesn't want to admit maybe he's wrong. Like, a hardcore leftist would be like, yeah, she can smoke meth. It's her body. If the child dies, okay. Most of the people, though, I think most of the people, if you present this to them, like, okay, so she has a right to end the pregnancy and kill the baby. Well, what if she wants to smoke meth? A lot of people are like, well, she shouldn't do that. Why not? Well, because it's harming the baby on purpose. Like, she knows better. Like, but it's okay to fucking kill it with full knowledge as long as you do it with a doctor? It doesn't make any sense. No,
I don't. I doubt that, Willie. I mean, from our standpoint, I personally just I don't believe that he argues in good faith anyway.
No,
I think he's more him in particular. I do think that he's primarily just grifting on the left side of the political aisle. I mean, both sides. Well, I always say both sides. It's all sides. Like libertarians have it. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna detract on a little tangent. Speaking of libertarian grifters, I am happy to announce that Miss Borsenko has disassociated herself with LP New Hampshire.
Well, I mean, you just got lucky with that one. Because apparently that was by her choice from the way you said it.
Yes, it was by her choice. So that that's just that makes it.
Well, is she moving toward NAMBLA now since she associates more with them?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm not even sure what the drama was about. I've heard that there's been some drama up there.
Well, no one likes her. She probably got tired of eating shit everywhere she went.
Well, she keeps inserting herself into drama. I don't think it was necessarily like her drama. I think she tried to insert herself into drama like she always does.
Yeah.
And her leaving LP New Hampshire was kind of her just, taking her stance on whatever stupid drama is going up there. But anyway, that made me happy. So as I was saying, though, it's just all sides. They're grifters in all sorts of spheres. The manosphere, oh my gosh, the manosphere is full of them. Because there's so many creators out there that just all they do is just. I'm sure that all they're doing is just watching an episode of Fresh and Fit, and then the next day doing a video just parodying the same points that they heard. And they're just doing it because they think it's the quick way to get famous on YouTube.
Yeah.
And of course we all know that the right. I mean, there's definitely been a lot of drama around that lately among the conservative sphere. Are you saying she's a goblin? I'm saying she's an insult to goblins. Like I couldn't insult goblins by associating her with that.
Yeah, she's definitely a disgusting human.
She's the worst kind of clout goblin.
Yeah, she's a very disgusting example of a human. She is another person who's all about her ego and
she might actually be sociopathic.
Yeah, I mean it could be.
Certainly seems like she is, but I mean, I'm not her therapist, so it's like I can't diagnose her, but the way that she treats people and her behavior just kind of insinuates that it's not just that's not just one of the like histrionic or narcissistic personality disorder. It might very well be antisocial personality disorder.
Hey, what's up, Ronan?
Hey, Ronan.
You missed the NPC TimCast takedown. Yeah.
But yeah, deep down, they all do know right from wrong. This is why they have cognitive dissonance when their ideas get challenged, because there are things that you can't just shake that. Like the idea that like a pregnant mother doing drugs is going to harm an actual human, a baby. Like you know that instinctively. That's subconscious. You can't really double think your way out of that.
Well, it's because they can see that suffering whenever a meth or crack addicted baby is born. Oh, dude.
Oh, you're good, Ronan.
Yeah, don't apologize for not feeling good, man. You take care of you, dude.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it'll always be up on YouTube and Rumble. You can always check it out later if you're interested.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things that hits them personally. Like when they see a crack or meth addicted baby born and it's shaking and can't fucking control itself and it's crying in pain because it feels pain for so long, they have to be like, oh. But with an abortion, like probably 99% of the people who want people to have abortion as a right and don't care what the human inside has to go through, they've never seen an abortion. They've probably never even, most of them probably don't know a lot of people who have had an abortion. And they damn sure haven't seen it or had to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if you took, I guarantee because they have cameras small enough now, you put a camera inside of a cervix that's got a baby inside and you show them what happens to perform that abortion, a lot of them they would either shut down and go into a complete state of denial, throw up, or go into a serious depression. Like, I don't see how you can show someone something like that and them not have negative feelings about it.
Are we ready for the cringe I brought to the stream?
Yeah, I guess so. Let's top this shit turd off with some diarrhea sauce.
My gosh.
Oh my god.
All right. Number 1. The left can't meme. Why is it a furry priest? Why? I mean, actually, all 3 of the things that they drew in there were furries.
Oh dear Lord. Let me get
these verses are I guess I missed verse 4 and 5, but Matthew 19 talks about divorce. Job 3 talks about it's when Job was lamenting all of his loss because Satan took all of his family and his belongings and stuff, and he was wishing he was never born. It's kind of an unintentional, like, self-owned, since that seems to be a thing with them when they talk about abortion. And suicidality rate is also just very high amongst them, right? And it kind of makes sense considering they have the LGBT flags up, but
well, what is it? 1910 through 14.
Yeah, it's about divorce.
That's interesting. If the situation is between a husband and wife, it is better not to marry. However, 2 verses before that, Jesus replied, Moses permitted you to divorce your wives because your hearts were hard. But it was not this way from the beginning. I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, and marries another woman, commits adultery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet this crowd is all about the sexual revolution.
Oh my god, this is such a fucking this is a clip out of context. Because what they're trying to say is that verse 10 that says, if this is the situation between a husband and wife, it is better not to marry. And then 11 says, Jesus replied, not everyone can accept this word, but only those to whom it has been given. So what they're doing is they're trying to say that Jesus agreed with the disciples on this, when actually Jesus is saying, yeah, no, what you're saying, it might be hard to swallow what I said, but oh my god.
All right. Look at that hat. I didn't even catch that. Pee pee poop. Like, really?
Yeah.
Oh, this is what goes on in our heads. Remember that. I got a few of these.
This is just fucking pathetic.
They because they hate Elon Musk so much, they really like to go after blue check marks. And so there's this kind of crusade to just like block all blue check marks.
Well, it's that.
What exactly do you accomplish? I mean, I guess you won't see their stuff in your feeds, but
it's a fucking ego thing too,
that's
because
yeah.
The blue check used to be for those of high social status and who were authoritative, and it was mostly just a bunch of rich elitist douchebags. But now it's no longer a status symbol, so no, we can't have that.
Yeah. So yeah, these next couple are all kind of the same, all about block the blue. Like really, like yeah.
Oh god. And see,
right, the
leftists like really think they're the ones fighting this righteous crusade against these maggots. Give me a fucking break, man. Like what's really happening is they see that leftist sitting there cosplaying with plastic guns out in the field, and they're all fucking laughing at him. It's the guys laughing at LARPers. But these LARPers are delusional.
Here we go. Okay, next one.
Stronger against the scales, because yeah, I mean I agree with a lot of it, but I don't see it getting in physical shape. Gonna watch the dinosaurs die out.
Like they think it's entirely just a younger generation versus older generation thing, but it's really like,
well, and they also
they
also don't realize they're genociding themselves. So
yeah,
spay and neuter your kids, leftists.
I don't even know what he's trying to say. I mean, it's just really an insult to ISOM, I guess, is all they're trying to do.
I mean, people who don't return their cards are kind of garbage. They're fucking lazy.
That's true.
That's for sure.
All right. This next one, prepare yourself. I told you there was one that would give you a conniption.
Nope. Nope.
I'm not going to read any of this.
No, I'm not either. I'm not either.
But yeah, like, what is with the wall of text? Like, I don't get it.
This should be a video, not a fucking meme.
By the way, shout out to on Twitter at internet_TL TLCM or the left camp meme and Ripaverse Goalpost. They've been the most abundant source of these memes.
Yeah, they do pretty good at pointing out the shit memes.
Okay. This next one's not really a leftist meme. I just happened to come across it on the left camp memes timeline. So I don't know. It just kind of started taking me down a rabbit hole. I just had to share it. I feel this seems to be a budding trend now.
What?
This is the ultimate. Like, I think this is Manosphere heaven. I think this is what this is. This is the ultimate. This is the final evolution of the Manosphere right here. It's polygamy.
God, you are fucking right. You're fucking right. This is like the penultimate. Yeah. Okay, we can fix this meme by putting Jack Murphy beards on all of those people.
Oh. All right, get on that. All right, got
I'm sorry. Wait.
Okay.
That top one, overworked single mother. Like, you expect other people to give half a shit about your kids as much as the guy who doesn't want anything to do with them? Bruh. Bruh. And you literally are a side chick. Yeah,
this is
I mean,
like, just for fun, guys, just go to Black Polygamy on Twitter and just scroll down their timeline.
and black women who think they're not going to be jealous whenever their dude is hooking up with the other chicks more than you, I got something else. I got another thing for you.
The only ethnicity that I think would be even more jealous would be Hispanics.
Mm-hmm.
Hispanics, yeah, you don't cross a Hispanic woman; she'll burn your house down. All right.
Next.
Like, it just has kind of a I don't even know how to describe this. So anyway, is a guy's like questioning the thing that we've been questioning like the entire time about, like, most people are okay with people who have gender dysphoria and ultimately decide as adults to go through a transition because it will alleviate their mental pain and to attempt to live their life as the opposite sex. You do you.
This is lies and heresy.
Right.
Because they demanded that one guy, that he was lying about being trans.
Right.
He was not a trans black indigenous lesbian or some shit. See, this is setting. This is not true. This is not true. If they actually believe that, they have to agree with everyone, no matter what. It doesn't matter. You fucking bigots.
Yep. All right. I almost get the attempt, like, okay, you're trying to say that, well, first of all, I know who created this didn't read the book. They didn't buy the book. Because one, they claim they can't even afford the book. It's too expensive, right?
I mean,
honestly, you could simplify this and then it would be like halfway decent. It's really just, it's an insult to ISOM. Okay, whatever. We get it. But again, like, they just can't help themselves. Like, why do you need this I don't understand, this Eric's lie in the corner? It just detracts from the whole thing.
Well, that, and it's like, it's how a lot of people feel about it. I don't know.
And this bottom line, that doesn't, anyone who doesn't like it is racist. That's their line, not ours.
Yeah.
So that didn't make any sense. All right, last.
Well, I just
comments.
Eric wouldn't care. He's not going to say this. People are
no,
racist.
Eric doesn't care. His customers don't care. We're all still going to buy ISOM 2 and whatever the next books are coming out, and we're going to enjoy it. I want to get 2 of my books of ISOM 1 encapsulated. Yeah. I need to go ahead and do that. Anyway, this is the last one. Like, it's the accusation is just like, oh, why are you obsessed with someone's genitals? It's such a weird deflection. Like, you're the one who's obsessed with genitals.
Well, if they hack their biology, meaning
of what you are.
I guess by making sure they get cancer, I guess they're hacking their biology. Hacking it to not perform correctly, I guess.
In spite of a world that doesn't want me to. It's like, no, the world doesn't care. I
Yeah,
mean,
the world. Yeah,
I don't think that's the best thing for you. You know, I think the best thing is that you need to learn how to cope with the body that you're in.
yeah.
Because I mean, there's just so many more benefits to that. I understand that you're going through mental anguish.
Like the world just doesn't want to see kids getting body parts chopped off.
Right. That's why this is always a deflection. It's like, why are you hurting like nobody cares about the adult trans that have made their decision.
Yeah, like that's your own dumbass decision.
Yeah, it's your life. Like, I think it's not the best choice for you, but I'm not going to advocate for the use of force to prevent you from doing it. If you got the means, got the money, as long as I don't have to pay for it, okay. You know, I'm not
Well,
gonna stop you.
maybe I shouldn't say dumbass because that would imply that most of them know the consequences. I guess I should say ignorant ass because a lot of them don't know because they don't care to research what's actually going on, and they're the headline readers
I mean,
or
I legitimately feel sorry for those now who are becoming adults and then starting to detransition because they realize, oh, I've been fooled.
yeah.
You know, the medical industrial complex has pushed me in this direction, and my parents either just like didn't. I mean, they were the dumb ones there that like they just no sense to stop and say no, maybe we shouldn't trans our kids. I mean, in some cases, it's Munchausen's by proxy, you know, because it's the parents who are doing it to fulfill their own kind of sick desires.
Oh, yeah, the kids with the parents who push this or they're just yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Rob.
Yeah, Rob, you took the words right out of my brain. They are fucking retarded. But yeah, like I'm sorry, but your kid is not going to say believe they're a girl unless you make them believe they're a girl. Like that's why like they talked that guy talked about Jazz Jennings. And had the surgeries and stuff way before they were an adult. And
She had the bottom surgery when she was
17.
17.
Yep. Was taking hormone blockers at 10, I believe.
Was it that early?
Yeah, I think so. It was before puberty. Because that's the whole thing. They didn't want him to go through puberty.
Right, and usually puberty is, I think, what they think. And by they, I mean like the scientists who are studying this, like genuinely trying to understand what's happening with these kids. When it comes to desistance, a lot of times they just need to go through puberty.
Yep.
Robert. Anyway, that's your segment of the left can't meme for this week. Send me your terrible, cringy leftist memes. At some point, if figure out how to do it efficiently, I would like to make an attempt to start fixing some of these memes. I mean, some of them can't be fixed. Some of them you just have to burn. But
yeah, the wall text, you just gotta fucking delete all that shit.
Yeah.
There's no hope. There's not a hope for a lot of these fucking people. And unless I don't know, like what is the cure? I mean, you have to get them away from well, I mean, I guess it's like any addiction. You have to get them away from their supply.
Think about it from being in the cult perspective. How do you get people out of a cult? It's not easy.
Yeah, you take them away from the cult.
You can do it. You can deprogram them, but it takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's well, I don't know. Maybe World War III is getting ready to pop off, so maybe that'll change some stuff.
I mean, yeah, World War III or perhaps food shortages, hyperinflation. Any one of these scenarios could just really shake up everything. When your survival is on the line, a lot of this stuff's just gonna disappear.
I don't think this. I don't think there's anything that's positive that's going to happen to change any of this.
No, it can't. Like it takes something. It's going to take something traumatic, unfortunately. I think.
Yeah, I definitely believe that for sure.
So that's kind of a silver lining on the things that are coming down the pike, or potentially, like hopefully we don't have to deal with World War III. I think that's one I'd be happy to just like, kind of skirt by. Yeah, but I think there's no escaping that the economic downturn. It's just a matter of what's it going to result in? Is it hyperinflation? I mean, and it could be a multitude of things, right? It could be that. It could also be, I said food shortages, famine, not being able to feed yourself or your family.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what I've been saying. It's got to be something
homelessness,
extremely personal, and that.
The other side of it, though, is that and people will respond to that in different ways, right? So, like for some, it could shake them out of it, and unfortunately for others, they'll become the next homeless addict in tent cities across the U.S.
Yeah,
I mean it's already happening in a lot of blue cities, San Francisco especially.
I don't know. I mean, even then, they're still getting some kind of handout or something to keep them just barely hanging into that life.
Yeah, have a good night, nerdy.
Yeah, later, dude. I think we're getting ready to pop off anyway.
Yeah.
Well, guys, next week, we might have an earlier show. So we'll keep you updated on that. But we may have a special guest. And we're working out some stuff. But
right. Yeah. No spoilers until we get it confirmed.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna make sure everything's going. Because we don't wanna, because stuff happens. So
right.
They might have something come up. One of us might have something come up. So,
Yeah, get excited. Mystery guest, potentially, hopefully.
Yeah, it'll be a good show for sure. It'll be and this person has a super great message to bring to everyone, and I dig this person and what they've accomplished so far and what they've done. But yeah, just next week it'll be early. It's looking like about 1 Eastern, 2 Central, if everything goes well. So
wait, 2. You got that backwards, right? Yeah, 2 Eastern, 1 Central.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah, you said 1 Eastern, 2 Central.
2 Central, 3 Eastern.
2, 3. Okay.
Yeah.
3 Eastern, 2 Central.
Yeah. So 3 EST, 2 Central time. So yeah, there we go. I think that's what we discussed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll find out. But yeah, guys, thanks for coming by. Hit the like. Yep. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think about the show. What you're feeling. What's some stuff you want covered? Maybe we'll get on that. Yeah, go get you some merch. Yeah, plus X, carry the 1, multiply by PEMDAS. 2 = 5, and we're good to go. Yeah, thanks for coming, guys. Everybody have a good night. Arizona time, I think that's Mountain, right?
I think they're on Pacific now because they don't do daylight savings, so they're on. Yeah, they should be on Pacific time now. So That'd be noon. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That'd be noon Pacific time. If you're Pacific time, it would be noon. Yeah. So there you go. All right, guys. I'm Flagrant. You can find me on the links below. Twitter, Flagrant Trigger. Everything else is Flagrant Triggers. YouTube, Rumble, Instagram. Crash, where can they find you, man?
I am the one and only Crash Mondo JR. Follow me wherever you find me. I don't post a lot, but I mean, Twitter's the best place. And I actually did stream for anybody who caught it. Played some Crab Champions.
Oh, yeah. Might do that tonight or tomorrow. We'll see. Got some stuff I gotta do too. So yeah, guys, have a good night and take it easy and go get your clouts.